Hello, I'm Elisa Zhang, and I am a physician and life and money coach. So, one thing about money is we really don't learn about it anywhere in our education system, not in middle school, high school, college, or even medical school, law school. So, unless you're a finance major, you really just don't learn. But a lot of our money beliefs do get set when we're younger. They get set by what we learn from our parents and our peers, our classmates, our friends, other people around us. And so if you have children, then you may want to start considering how you can actually break the cycle of lack of education in personal finance so that your kids can be better off than you were. I mean, that's what most people want for their kids. Now, I have a disclaimer. I don't have any children. And I'm not a certified financial advisor. So take this as entertainment and education, but it's not certainly any investment advice. I do think, however, that my parents actually did a good job of teaching us kids about money, even if they didn't realize that that's what they were doing. One of the things that they did was that we actually did talk about money in our household. And I know that that's taboo in a lot of families. A lot of parents don't talk to their kids about money. My parents did talk about, there was a sense of scarcity. Money doesn't grow on trees was a common saying in the house. And saving, having money in order to, be able to buy necessities, but we didn't buy luxuries. We did go on vacations. They tended to be road trips, and but we did get to do some traveling. And actually, during my middle school years, my father, who is a professor, he actually took a sabbatical where over the summer we did 2 cross-country trips, going to national parks and visiting relatives around the country. And that actually left quite an impression on me growing up. My father actually did love to travel, and he did try to take us as much as possible out. Um, when there were conferences, he would potentially take the family because part of it was written off. But I just thought maybe I'd share some examples of what my parents did and how I grew up with money. And these may be things that you want to consider. So one of the things was that we did actually get an allowance starting in middle school. So middle school was the first time where you could actually buy your lunch. And so we had the option, we could pack our own lunch from leftovers or things in the kitchen, or, my parents would buy like bread and sandwich meat, and we can make our own sandwiches. Or we could buy lunch. And I believe lunch was $2 a day. So we got $10 a week for allowance. And we could decide to save our money and bring our own lunch by making it ourselves, or we could buy the lunch. And that continued through high school. And so most of the time, I saved the money and brought lunch in order to keep that allowance so that I could spend it on other things. I might buy myself a little treat here or there, some French fries. There was a day on Tuesdays where they had Pizza Hut pizza and French fries, and sometimes I would buy that. Or they also had like ice cream bars. But for the most part, I saved most of that. And I think having a essentially budget of $10 a week and knowing whether or not I could save it or spend it and spend it on anything I want. So it was kind of priced towards lunch, but I could buy anything with it. I could go to the mall and buy clothes if I wanted with it. So that was one way to kind of learn how much things cost and kind of budgeting in a sense. The other thing my parents did is if we wanted anything kind of like a larger ticket item, like a bike, then we would have to actually save or make money in order to pay for half of it, and they would pay for the other half. And this started, I think, somewhere around middle school or high school. I can't quite remember when this started, but I do remember babysitting for money by middle school and babysitting through high school. I personally didn't actually have a whole lot of things I wanted to buy, so I didn't necessarily work that much. But my sister was really into having nice clothes. She wanted, brand name clothes like Abercrombie and Finch. So she actually, whenever she could, she did work. She worked bussing tables. She actually worked at Abercrombie and Finch. She worked at a bagel shop. I remember she had all sorts of odd jobs as well as babysitting in order to kind of bring in more money to spend on the things that she wanted to spend. And I think that even though my sister and I have very different styles when it comes to money, she's definitely much more of a spender, but she's always been able to maintain her spending habits by the income that she brings in. And she always has savings and is never kind of quote paycheck to paycheck. So I think all those lessons from growing up really helped in all that. Somehow we learned to track money. And I don't even know how this got ingrained in us, but it was probably following something my mom did. So my mom tracked the expenses in the house. And I think she must have done it on an Excel sheet because somehow when I went to college, I started tracking my expenses on an Excel sheet. And my sister actually did the same. And I don't remember ever being told like, this is what you do, but I think we just saw what my mom was doing and we thought, okay, when we're adults, like that's what you do. You track your spending and you make budgets, and our budgets were kind of made off of what we were spending and how much money we had. We did hear a lot growing up, like you have to save for college, you got to get scholarship for college, you got to get good grades so that you could get scholarship for college. And so I did apply to as many scholarships as I could find in order to try to help out with college. And I understood that college was an expensive thing that we had to save for, and that might mean foregoing some things in the present. So kind of learning a little bit of delayed gratification, which of course is hard with any children. So those are the things that come to mind from my childhood. Just talking about money with your kids, talking about how much things cost, giving them a sense of having money so that they have responsibility for their spending. Another thing I've heard people do is matching. So actually opening a Roth IRA for your child, and when they make money, being able to put some of it in the Roth IRA, and you would match that money, or even like the money you make, like you would fund the IRA with how much they make and then give them the money so that they could spend it. There are different ways of doing that, but that's something certainly that could be explored. Or maybe even kind of having a family budgeting meeting and kind of talking about how much there is in the budget for different items. Maybe something like if you spend a lot for Christmas or the winter holidays, kind of giving a budget for that, budget for how much to give for birthday presents for your kids' friends. And there are probably lots of ways to incorporate talking about money with your children in a way that they can understand. So hopefully this jogs your mind about ideas, and you can brainstorm more ways to talk about money with your kids so that they can get a sense of having a good, solid, positive, wealthy mindset. If you'd like to work with me to grow your wealthy mindset, please head over to my website, growyourwealthymindset.com, and sign up for a free consultation call with me. We can talk about where you're at and where you want to go and what's keeping you from getting there. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you.